Okay, y'all, so this is going to be zero fluff in this video. We're going to be showing you exactly step by step how we installed these DIY mini splits. So right here, you'll see my friend Seth, who is a licensed AVC contractor. First, decide of where we're going to put. It looks like it's a foundation, but it's really kind of like a mixture of some sort of light concrete, but then also some foam. So it's really, really lightweight. So we're just finding out where we want to be able to put that. And that's going to be the foundation. And then you're going to have the outdoor unit sitting on top of this pad. And then we just start doing the unboxing, and you'll see Seth is very, very impressed because he's never seen a DIY version. He's always had to do all the hard work to be able to make these work. So here's a close-up of the line sets where all you really need to do is just use a couple of wrenches to be able to attach them. So Seth wanted to do a little bit more than what the instruction would actually ask you to do. So he's taping these with some electrical tape just so no dirt or debris get inside of the lines and mess things up. Then what we do is went ahead and measure the lines to be able to make sure that where we want to put the outdoor condenser unit, that will run the proper length that we need it to be able to reach the indoor unit where we want it. So then you just want to measure and make sure that everything's going to fit right. And then you do the same for inside. And then you'll see this is what we're doing. We're just hanging this just to kind of hover it so that Kelly is off camera so she can see where she wants it centered and how high she will want it. We're really impressed with how these new DIY units look. It's just a cool design that we actually prefer more than our older non-DIY units in our main shed to house. Now this is where things went a little bit off script because of course Seth has done many of these, but he's never done a DIY version. He actually did not read the instructions, so don't make this mistake. He didn't read the instructions because he's done so many. Later in the video, you'll see that Mr. Cool gives you a perfect template so that you can just make this so much easier versus what we were doing here. Because you see Seth lining up and marking all the holes to be able to attach the bracket for the indoor unit.
Yeah, it's just I'm using a 2-inch. I forget. It's a flat. I forget what it's called, but it's the. It's not countersunk basically. It's not a countersink screw. It's the flat one.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called. So I'm putting these on here just for extra grabbing surface area on the.
Perfect. Because on those oval ones, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Might go through the hole.
Yeah. So. Perfect. You don't happen to know the sizes of these things, do you?
These are 2-inch screws. I believe they are 10D. 10D,
okay. Yeah. And you know what size washers those are?
These, yeah, so these are 1/4 inch hole by 1.5 inch diameter.
Perfect.
Yeah, 1/4 inch hole, 1.5 inch diameter.
And then you just put one screw and washer in there, make sure it's level, and then you can continue to attaching all the screws that you want for the bracket. Super, super easy. And then here's a good shot where you can see how the line set and the condensation line, how you want to slowly and gently bend those up, because that's what you do is you stab those through the wall and through the hole that you're going to be running all of the line sets. And so, of course, he uses the template, kind of eyeballs it for where the hole is going to be. Now, as you can see here, once again, unfortunately, if we made any mistake, it was having a pro who did not fully read the instructions because, well, he's done this before. We did not read the instructions and we had no idea that Mr. Cool for this kit includes the perfect 3.5 inch hole saw for you. They give you everything. So Seth did not have his bigger hole saw, so we had to go with a little bit smaller hole saw. This would add, a little bit less things to be able to insulate back in there, but also you kind of want that full size hole so that it can really have that nice gentle slope for your condensation lines. I don't think it's going to have any issues for us, but it is something that you want to be able to use, that 3.5 inch hole saw that comes with the kit. Then once you have your hole all the way through your wall, you want to go ahead and put that first cover on, but it is just the cover for the line set. You want to make sure that that is level, because that's going to set you up for when you do the rest of the covers, because you want it nice and straight and looking good. This is always freaky, having a hole in your little studio house, tiny house, main house, garage. It's a little weird having a hole in your building. So this is us doing the rest of those covers. We did want to switch to some drywall screws because the other screws were not biting into our exterior siding. Then you measure eyeball for your final base. You just want to measure it out and make sure that it all is going to look good to where the lines finish down at the bottom. Really nice and clean. Here we use my miter saw. I was a little afraid that it was going to chip or crack the plastic, but it cut like butter and it worked great. Okay, so here you want to level out your foundation pad for the outdoor unit. And then of course, here's a little rant from Seth showing how surprised and easy it is to be able to hook these up. All right, so this is a good sign that the instructions for the DIY, we're checking out how the line sets are already pre-charged, that the licensed HVAC contractor, Mr. Seth, he's like, is this all you do? You just like screw these in? So that's if it is that simple, that's good sign. Dude,
this is great.
All right.
But that's why they wanted you to do it. So you got to have like several little tools to do a mini split on average.
Yeah.
Normally you don't have this convenience of just tightening on the line sets or something. You have to flare the copper. You have to cut and flare the copper, and you have to do it to a certain flaring degree that's only specific to R410A, which is a refrigerant. And then you also have to have a vacuum pump. Once you get those secured and you check your leaks, see if you have any leaks, you have to pull a vacuum on it to under 500 microns. It's just, there's a lot to it that people don't realize.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of different steps. And it's the fact that you can just hook into this.
And then thank you for my friend Isaac, who stayed and helped us out. Having a third set of hands was very nice, being able to get all this set up. Okay, now that all the cover is done outside, we took the main electrical cable and ran that through. Here's a look of the line set and the condensation line. That is going to just poke out that hole. Here, Mr. Cool does include this nice sleeve, of course, for the 3.5-inch hole. We had to retrofit it and cut it to be able to make it work. It didn't really work very well. So just read the instructions and use that 3.5-inch hole saw, and this sleeve will work perfectly. And then you just go ahead and push all the line set and condensation line all the way through the hole. Now, sometimes getting the indoor unit to fit onto the bracket you just need to play around with it a little bit. It does have these two little thumb things that it hangs on the top, and then you just need to snap it into these little clips at the bottom. For us, it took a little bit of finagling to be able to get it to be perfectly level so that the condensation lines slightly ran downhill to that line instead of going the opposite direction. So we just needed to readjust it, bump it a little bit, and it worked great. Now, one thing with these DIY units is you aren't going to ever cut the line set. So you might have a little bit of extra that you just have to coil around a little bit. We, of course, have a shed to house, so it's on a raised foundation. So we had the space to be able to loop it one time for the additional length. Here, whenever you're bending these line sets, you want to be nice and easy. You don't want to bend really hard and really fast. You just want to be easy with them. It is copper line, so you could crack them, but most of the time, if you just go slow and easy, it's going to work fine. Now, Seth is going a little bit above and beyond and doing some thread lock. And guys, this is as easy as it gets. You just get the 2 wrenches and you start threading them on, and then you'll actually hear the line set expand and the refrigerant go into the indoor unit. You don't need any crazy tools or machines or anything for this. This DIY is amazing at how simple it is. And then we just do the same thing for connecting the outdoor unit. Get some thread lock and then thread it on. Then use your wrenches to tighten them on. And then here, Seth is checking for leaks. I'm not really sure what kind of gel soap thing this is for the leaks. You can just use some soapy water to see if you see any bubbles. But as long as you make it nice and tight, you're going to be fine. This is just an extra precaution because he's a pro and he wants to be able to do that. It does not hurt to be able to check it. Now, this is something that Seth was not really sure and we weren't really sure. Maybe it was because we didn't read the instructions. But Mr. Cool supplies you with some extra things here. So we assumed that this is what this little pad, sticky pad stuff was to be able to cover those connections of the line set. I think it ended up working great to be able to use this little sticky pad thing to cover up those connections and just make sure that they're nice and protected. Then you just slide on the condensation lines that is provided. Here is one more thing that Mr. Cool provides is like this non-sticky wrap tape. Honestly, we tried to use it and it was a pain in the butt. We didn't understand what you were supposed to do with this. So we just scrapped this idea and we did not use it. So I don't know what you were supposed to do with that, but we did not use it. But something that we did do is Seth used some zip ties to be able to make sure that these line sets are nice and organized and tight and clean looking to be able to fit nice and slim inside of the cover. Then we just split up. Seth, of course, is a licensed electrician as well, so he started working with all the electrical while I finish up the easy part of the covers. In terms of the electrical, y'all, being perfectly honest, this is something that I would not have done. I would have outsourced this no matter what. If you have experience with electrical, maybe you would want to tackle this. I'm not sure if I would ever recommend it. It's just something that I would always feel more comfortable hiring out these types of things because I don't want to have to spend my time becoming an electrician. I want this to be nice and safe for my family. But here are some close-up shots of how the electric was set up. And then once that was done, I went inside, told Kelly it was ready.
Yeah,
Hey!
It's cool. I felt it. I reached out. Like, the cold air is blowing. It's awesome. Like, yesterday when I came out of here and you're like, babe, your face is so red. I did have a sunburn, but it was also, I was sweating from all the sweaty parts.
It was hot in here yesterday.
I'm into it. And it's a new design.
It is a new design, yeah. It's a little,
like
I'm not, I was like, oh, I'm not.
So, like, it's super
Holy
here.
cow. I feel it from right here.
Yeah, you should.
Do we feel ours like that?
It's good.
I want to
really
live
good,
in
right?
here.
I want to live in here too.
I mean, we will.
Just
like,
from
partially. like.
Even from the.
We're
the
just going to be
tiles in
seeing
the
less of each other now. Because we're just.
Say that.
Well.
No, we'll just see more of each other in here. It took me more time to make a lasagna than it took you guys to put in this, Mr. Cool.
Well, y'all are also talking about, like, with not pre-charged lines, you have to, like, you end up cutting your own.
Yeah, you have to re-flare it. That's true. You have to have a flare tool. You have to cut with tubing cutters the line, hook your flaring tool on, re-flare the fitting, and connect it, and then do a leak check. Make sure everything's connected properly, which I did too here, but you have to have nitrogen gas to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Who has a tank of nitrogen gas on them? I mean, it's just.
And even that, I think that this is a great way to be able to do something yourself, but I will say, once it got to the electrical, I was like, I wouldn't have done it.
You wouldn't have known.
No, they're like, there's no way I would have done that. So
it's kind of like a DIY plus.
I think so. Yeah. DIY, then you want to hire probably an electrician unless you, and maybe if you have everything set up
Yeah, how you had it here with the disconnect, I mean, that was easy for me. The power was ready. I just ran my power wires to it, but some people may not have that stuff. You can go get it at Home Depot and Lowe's, but...
Yeah.
I think that's a good like shout out for pre-planning.
Yeah.
Because we pre-planned this building so much more thoroughly than the house.
And for real, y'all, it was just that easy. I hope that some of this was helpful to be able to show you how to install these mini split units. We love them. If you haven't checked out the main video of what you need to know before you buy a Mr. Cool DIY mini split unit, definitely check that out. I'll go through several different points that I think could be helpful for what you need to know before you buy one of these units. I highly recommend them, but go check out that video. We'll put it up in the top left. You're going to like it. See you on the next one. Bye.